You are not an afterthought. You are not a mistake. I want that topic to sink in, that title to sink in. You are not an afterthought. You are not a mistake. Do you know almost 80% of people on earth, one time or the other, have entertained the thought that they are probably an afterthought. Almost everybody living on the surface of the earth have entertained that thought one time or the other. People sometimes think, because of the overwhelming situation that they are going through in their lives, because of the overwhelming circumstances that they are in, and because of the way life treats them, and because of the way life has been unfair or harsh on them, almost everybody have had to think that at one point or the other, that maybe, after all, they are an afterthought. And they have had to think that it could be that they are a mistake. And things could happen in life that will leave you thinking that way. So my question to you guys is, has there ever been a time in your life when you'd had to entertain such a thought and think that, you know what, maybe I don't belong here. Maybe I'm an afterthought after all. Has there been any time when you had to think like that? Well, I tell you, I was there. And I was there not just one time, I was there many times, especially when I was growing up in Africa as a teenager. I was there so thoroughly that I probably 2 or 3 times contemplated suicide. I remember when I was 13 years old, I really thought about committing suicide because I thought that I was surely an afterthought, a mistake, that this whole thing was a waste of time. That's my life. I thought that life was a waste of time. Life was not worth it. And my life was not worth it at all. And I thought that life was not fair. I thought God was not fair. I even blamed God. Why did he even create me? And why did he send me into this harsh and horrible life? I never saw the light at the end of the tunnel. I never had anybody to speak to my life and to make me realize that no, there is a purpose. The first time I heard the word purpose was when I was 19, after I had left my country, Nigeria. But long before then, when I was 13 years old, 12 years old, 13 years old, 14 years old, between 13 and 16, I was thinking for sure that, that I was a mistake. I was an aftermath. And there were reasons why I could think like that. I never knew my father. I never had a father. So whenever they call us to school and they say, bring your parents, everybody's always inviting their parents. And especially their father, they always tell you, bring your father to school. And of course, I never even knew him. And besides that, there was not a man figure in my whole household there where I was living. we only had a bunch of old grandmothers. And the person who was in charge of me was my grandmother. So to find a grandfather, to find a father, bring your father. We didn't even have an idea. I didn't even have an idea what a father was. No man in the whole vicinity. No. So, and then they said, bring your mother. And I also didn't have one. So, some of those thoughts are things that could drive you to want to do the extreme things about yourself, think that you are an aftermath. And then, even when I tell them that I only have my grandmother that I was living with, I couldn't invite her because they would tell her to come and do some things. And she couldn't even read or write. She didn't even understand what the whole thing was all about. I didn't want to get the old woman to go and, to go and be embarrassed and to embarrass herself out there in the school. And it was such a shame, and she couldn't read or write. She couldn't, so the whole thing was just a mess. And of course, that was one thing, but on the other hand, no food to eat, and we only had one kind of food in our house. We call it gari. So in the morning, you take eba. In the afternoon, you take gari, which is still the same eba, cassava. And in the evening, you take eba again. So the same, the only difference is that in the morning, you take the gari, the same gari, with hot water, mingled with hot water, and then with stew. Then in the afternoon, you take the same gari but with cold water, no stew. Then in the evening, you take the same gari with hot water, and if you are lucky, they could put some meat inside or some fish inside. Maybe once a week you get some piece of meat or some piece of fish. So there were overwhelming circumstances and reasons to think that I was surely an aftermath. Especially when you cannot even see who your father was or your mother was. So I was living in my own world of carbohydrates in different formulas, just in two formulas. So things were really, really very bad. Even though we were making ogi to sell, but we were not touching, we were not drinking it because we needed to sell it. Even though that's still the same carbohydrate, things were just so rough. So then coupled with all the people in your school laughing at you and making a joke of you and, just running you down. Then another challenge I always had was, in that we used to go to a school where, it was all over Nigeria. You needed to have a uniform. You needed to have a uniform, a dress that is similar to everybody's dress. All the school kids have to have a dress and a uniform. That was another challenge. Oh, when it comes to uniform, my God, that was a big problem. I needed to work selling my firewood for 3 months, maybe 6 months sometimes, to get my uniform. It was always a struggle to get that uniform. And, and while other students were having 2-3 uniforms, because when one is dirty, then you have to wash it. Oh, that was a big day. How do you cannot change your uniform? And normally they will have white and brown or something, and white shirt. Wow. And so they tear so often because because you are a kid, it gets dirty fast. So you need to wash it in the evening and wear it in the morning. By the time you do that for 2 or 3 months, they are torn. your uniform is torn in the neck, is torn in the armpit, is torn in the in the middle of your leg, is torn under your your uniform is torn all over. It's just torn. It's torn all over. And to even get a tailor, even the concept of a tailor was strange to my village. And to get it fixed is, and people just laugh at you and just, oh my. Anyway, so I had a lot of reasons to think that I was an aftermath or a mistake. And what a joy it is for me to know today that God doesn't produce aftermaths. God doesn't produce afterthoughts. Sorry. I thought I was an afterthought. God doesn't produce afterthoughts. God does not produce afterthoughts. It does not make mistake. It's a perfect God. And because it's a perfect God, you are not a mistake. Because it's a perfect God, you are not an aftermath. I mean, the proof is in the pudding. The pudding is in the eating. And the proof that I'm not an afterthought, I think is visible to everybody today. I think it's clear to everybody today. My life today is a proof that I was not an afterthought after all. But if you had told me that like 30 years ago, no, maybe not 30 years ago, like 40 years ago, I would have thought, wow, that's just impossible. Nobody knows tomorrow. Nobody knows tomorrow. So, and it is very important that we do this kind of videos, that we do this kind of, we express this kind of sentiments, and we share with the world what we have been through. Because there are lots of people out there right now, maybe in Africa or in Europe, maybe anywhere. I mean, like I said, like 80% of the people in the world are thinking they are afterthoughts or they are a mistake. And but you see, we are talking this week on problems. So I'm still going to go into problems, and this is all building the stage to getting to talk about problems. So that is what we're talking about this week. But the idea I'm getting across to you is that, can you imagine if I had somebody out there who could have told me that about the future? We spoke about the future when I was growing up, but it was kind of like the future only belonged to some certain people. It was like the future only belonged to people who had money. The kind of impression I had when I was growing up in my own environment is as if only some people could predict the future. In my own surrounding, I was thinking only people who had money to travel overseas, to travel abroad, could have a future. Or only people who had money to go to the university, to go to school, had a future. Or only people who had relatives that could help them have a future. So we didn't talk in the sense that a future is what God has put in you already. That God has created everybody with a destiny, with a future. And that's why I'm addressing this topic, that the fact that you are born in itself shows that you have a future. The fact that you are born means that you are not here by accident. God packaged you. God put you together for a purpose. So you are actually born and sent here on an assignment intentionally by God. You are meant to become who you are supposed to become, and only you can become that thing. So you are all a hero in the eye of God. You are all supposed to be unique. You are all supposed to be extraordinary. You are all supposed to be the only one in your class. You are the only one in your class. You are the only one like you. There is no one like you, no matter how good they are, no matter what family they come from, no matter how wealthy they are, no matter how successful they are, no matter how many things they have going on for them. You are still so unique that nobody will ever be like you, and nobody will ever be better than you. Even me, I would never compare to you. I will never be as good as you in your own field, in your own calling, in your own sphere of life, in your own area of anointing. You have been created to be unique. You have been created to be extraordinary. You have been created to be a hero in your own class. You are the only one like that. You are the only one like you. There is nobody to compare to you. There is nobody to compete with you. There is nobody who can compete with you. You have been intentionally created to be unique. You have been intentionally packaged to be different. You have been put together to be out of competition. Nobody can compete with you. You have been packaged in such a way that you are superior to everybody, other person. You are superior to me when it comes to your own area. You are superior to me when it comes to you. You are better than me. You are the only one I don't compare to you in your own field, in your own area. You are unique and different. You are original. You are an original. You are not an afterthought. You are an original. You are not an afterthought. You are an original. You are so original. You are a masterpiece. I think that's the best word to use to communicate it. You are a masterpiece. You are so original. You are a masterpiece. And the masterpieces don't only come in singular forms. Masterpiece. We have like this clothes that I'm wearing now. What they call them? There are some clothes that are done only in few numbers. There are not too many quality, not too many of them. So this my shirt. Somebody who was interested in giving me something unique went and got it because there are not too many of them. There are some what they call them. They call them something. But anyway, it's a masterpiece, an original. It's a unique thing. So that is the way you are. You are intentionally packaged to be unique. Like in this, like with this cloth, I'm saying that there's few of them, but it's not. But when it comes to you, there are not few of you. There is just you. There is just you. It's just you alone. You are just the only one. So God took His time to make sure that you are the only one. So it's not just like a couture. Yeah, that's it, like a couture, right? A designer, right? Designer cloth, yeah, designer cloth, a custom made designer cloth, right? So limited edition, designer cloth. This is a designer cloth, but you are a designer cloth. You are not cloth. You are a designer made. You are designer made, and you are not just limited edition, but you are customized by God. You are a rarity. You are singular. You are a singular copy. So if you are a masterpiece like that you are singular, you are the only one made of your quality. You are the only one made like you are. You are the only one. No one like you. You are a masterpiece. Can you then be an afterthought? Afterthought cannot. A masterpiece can never be an afterthought. A masterpiece is always intentional. A masterpiece is originally designed. A masterpiece is thought over and thought upon, original thoughts, original ideas. A masterpiece is always originally designed. A masterpiece is always specially organized, specially put together, specially structured, specially, you are specially made, specially programmed. So because of that, because you are custom made, because you are a masterpiece, because you are a singular quality and a singular edition, you are not a mistake. You are not an afterthought. You are not a mistake. It's impossible. You are uniquely and originally made. Now, why is that important? But things happen to you in life. From being an original, from being a unique being, you now started to think that, hey, maybe I'm a mistake, or maybe I was an afterthought after all. And what I'm saying now is that particular situation and that particular problem that is making you to think that you are an afterthought might be the very thing that you are supposed to address, the very problem that you are supposed to resolve in your life. So anything that is making you to think that you are an afterthought, or maybe you are no more thinking that way, or that has ever made you to think that you are a failure, that you are a mistake, that you are unfortunate, that you are ill-fortuned. Look, remember, I want you to remember that experience, those experiences that have made you to now think that you are a mistake. What is that thing that happened to you, that occurred in your life, that's making you to think that you are a failure? What is that thing that happened in your life that is now making you to think that you are small and that you are not special? So those things that happened and led you to those thoughts, you could sit down. I would like to challenge you to sit down and make a list of those experiences. Sit down and make a list of those horrible situations and circumstances that led you to now begin to think that you are a failure, that you'll never make it, that you are an afterthought, that you are a mistake. What are those things? Down. Listen to me what I'm about to say. Those particular things that made that to happen to you, that brought you, that caused you, those circumstances, those situations that have caused you to now begin to look down on yourself, those are the problems, and that is the problem God wants you to tackle. Let me give you an example. Let's say that you are raped. I listened to the story. I don't know if all of you guys listened to the confession of T.Y. Moore. T.Y. Moore. She had a video out. I don't know. Let me see what she calls it. But she had a video out, and she called it, I don't know, maybe she called it a confession or something, or something like that. But that's whatever she wrote there is so, I don't know. But if you go to T.Y. Moore Facebook page, you will see a confession, how she was raped. And she was raped by someone she trusted, by one of the pastors. And she said that has been a shame, that has been a secret, and that even her family didn't know about, even her husband she didn't know about. And, a horrible experience that almost made her to take her life. So now, that particular experience, even though she's been successful, T.Y. is a producer, is a film producer and an actress. So she's been successful. She's one of the most successful film producers in England, from Nigeria and in Nollywood. But despite that, she still had that pain in her. Now, she's now a big lady and a big woman, but she says, I heard her say it in one of her recordings, that it is now, even though she's all this big actress and big director and film producer, filmmaker, that it is just now that she started talking about her secrets, that she started sharing her story, that she's feeling really fulfilled. Because she feels that now she's not just making entertainment. She's not just making entertainment, or she's not just making money or profession or just having a job, but she is now giving life to people. Because what led her to that situation, what happened to her, is happening to many other people. Yeah, Aline Paradis says the name of the program, or the thing she made, is I Did a Bad Thing. Yeah, I did a very bad thing, right? Yeah, she called it I Did a Very Bad Thing. So, but she is now thinking that virtue is coming out of her. She's now seeing it and feeling it, that, but just by sharing her experience, she is giving life and virtue to many people who are listening to her. And the idea is that she had done so many things before now. But what I'm trying to say is that the very same problem that has led you to think that you are nothing, the very same problem, this very same situation and circumstances that have led you to think that you will never amount to anything, the very same thing that has led you to think that you are a failure, that very same thing is the thing that God wants you to tackle. I got a letter from one lady yesterday, and she calls herself Mrs. Sister Difference. Sister Difference. You know, that very, because when she was a girl, she just couldn't associate herself with a girl. And she said, thank God, if not for, thank God that there was no craze of becoming gay or lesbian that time. Maybe she would have thought that she was not supposed to be a girl and she was supposed to be a man, and she would have changed her sex or something. But she didn't, thank God she didn't do that. But now, she has now discovered that the reason why she was feeling and finding herself to be odd among women, among ladies, is because, and she even called herself Sister Difference. And the reason is because that she was called to address the things she didn't like among girls and in girls. So now she's, going to study. I mean, she's a grown-up lady, and she's having her own children, I guess, and her own family already. But it is just now, at 40 years old or something, that she's getting to a place where she wants to go and study guidance and counseling to be able to minister in that area, because she's now discovering that, wow, that means that is my calling. I hated girls. I hated things in girls. I hated being a girl, things that the girls do, not girls. She hated things that girls did. And now she has now discovered that hatred, that place where her hatred was, that place where her dislike was, that place where, she had a special, rejection in, that is where our real calling is. That is where really our real calling and our destiny is. And now she wants to start a club for girls and for ladies, and she started it already, and she's becoming a life giver in that area. Now, what is the point I'm trying to make? The point I'm trying to make is this: that place where you got to, anything that ever pushed you to a place whereby you are now saying that you want to die, or you are an afterthought, or you are a mistake, that is the problem you're supposed to tackle. We were all created, packaged from heaven to resolve a problem, one problem or the other on the earth. And whatsoever that your situation is, maybe it's a way for God to get you to understand and to package you and to prepare you for the very thing that you are supposed to provide solution for. We are all created to provide solution. We are all created to bring answers. We are all created to resolve one problem or the other on the earth. And but the path to get into that problem will be different. The path to get into that problem will be diverse. So God will prepare you in different ways. Like, for example, now I am so happy I never had a father. I am so glad I never had a father or a mother, because thanks to that, I was able to discover all that in God. It's easy for me to relate to God as my father. It's easy for me to relate to God as my mother. It's easy for me to love on God, but it's also easy for me to give love to people who don't have fathers and who don't have. It's easy for me to become a father. I want to become a father to women. I want to be a father to girls. I want to be a father to men. I want to be a father to families. I want to be a father as a pastor. I want to be a father. I want to be a father to people. I want to be a father because I know what it means to be without a father. And another thing that God has used my situation to do is that, I told you about all the deprivation that I went through, that we were not having this, we were not having money, no food to eat, no. I thank God that that happens, because now I know what it means not to have food to eat. I know what it means to live on gari. I know what it means to live, on empty stomach. I know what it means to wear torn clothes and things like that. What has that done for me? That has prepared me to become the minister that I am today. Because I'm not just talking. I'm not just preaching some sermons. I'm not just telling a story or reading some scriptures. I am able to give life out of my pain. These things have become my pain. And they have now made me to feel the pain of every other person that has gone through the same thing, and that is going through the same thing. So things that I went through actually were my school. So maybe everything that you went through, the things that you hated and the things that made you to think that you are an aftermath or a mistake, those things are actually your universities. Those were your classes. Those are your classrooms. Those were your preparatory schools. Those were your preparations to make you become the same person that you are supposed to become. But sometimes the problem with all of us is that we hide our secrets. We hide our sorrow. We hide our shame, our disgrace. And that is the greatest undoing you could do to yourself. That is the greatest, the greatest deprivation you could give yourself. If you hide the sorrow, the very sorrow, the very secret, the very you don't need to talk about people's name. You don't need to talk about people's identity. You don't need to, reveal other people's, secrets. But your own experience is your biggest platform. How I wish that you could know this. Your own sorrow, your own disgrace, your own shame, that thing that made you to think that you are an aftermath, that particular thing, that thing is your platform. It's your biggest platform. You remember I just told you right now about T.Y. Moore, and that even though she's been successful, she's become a producer, a movie producer, a director, an actress, and she's living in England now. She's having her children. But it is only when she began to share her story, when she began to bring out the secrets, when she began to really share her story and her journey, that she started experiencing fulfillment. That's the same thing I want to say to everyone that is listening to me today. What is it? What is that thing? Please make a list of those experiences, those things that you think are your shame, those things that you think that were your disgrace, those things that you think that were your... look at... I don't know if anybody read the book of Nkiru Ojimadu. She's having an anniversary today. But if you have not read the book of Nkiru Ojimadu, please write her now. But it doesn't have to be video. But like Nkiru, for example, she is doing videos as well. But she's not telling too many stories about her personal life, which is maybe she doesn't have the release to do that, right? But so a video is not as popular. A video is not as hot as a book is. A book where she's talking about a girl, but she's not talking about herself in that book, but she's talking about a girl that she knows very well. But that book, because it's carrying story of a life, a real life story, that a book is going to live for generations. That a book is going to outlive her. So it's through that book that she's going to be immortalized. She's immortalizing herself through documenting her sorrow. Because that is the biggest platform God has given to her. That is the platform. God knows how to equip all of us. God knows how to equip us. And God is equipping us through what we go through. God allows some of those things that we pass through them to equip us to become. Some of us think that the only area of equipment for us to become who we need to become in life is our schools, colleges, and universities. But those are artificial, man-made system of equipping. But, schools don't know what you have gone through. Schools, universities, and colleges, they are not experiences. They are just knowledge. So knowledge is nothing compared to experience. The greatest thing that you have in you are your experiences. There is nothing compared to experience. What you have experienced are the greatest lessons that you have. They are your greatest revelations. It is only the thing that you have gone through, the thing that you have experienced. It's the thing that you have experienced that will really become your platform. Okay, yesterday is saying, Awolese Shore Mekun Awolese is saying that she also has her own story on her wall as well. Yeah, that is your platform. It could be in form of a book. It could be in form of a training, a coach or life coach. It could be in form of a video program. It could be in form of a live program like I'm doing now. It could be in form of, it could be like what TY has done. TY says, even our movies and our films have not given her so much acclaim like what she started doing just a few weeks ago. So her stories have made her, and some people might say, oh, but I was not raped, oh, I was not rejected, oh, I didn't live in poverty. You have bad stories, but I don't have bad stories to tell. But you went through something. Maybe you went through good stories. Maybe you were brought up in a good house, in a good family. Why don't you turn that to your platform? Maybe you had good parents. Turn that to your platform. People need good parents in this world today. Everybody needs good parents. Maybe you have good experiences in life. Why don't you write that as the thing that other people should strive towards? It doesn't have to be something bad. But I don't know if you people have been noticing the stories that I bring to you every weekend. Every Saturday and Sunday in the evening, I have testimonies. Go listen to them. Because those stories is coming from people's sorrow. Those stories are coming from people's pain. Those stories are coming from people's shame. It is only somebody that had an experience that has a message. If you have not experienced something, you don't really have a message, really. Let me tell you that. You don't have a message until you have experienced something. You need to go through something. And those things that you have gone through, God knows why. And it is your own school. Every single one of your experiences, everything that you went through when you were growing up, everything that you went through when you were a kid, everything that you went through when you were an adult, everything that you went through when you were a teenager, when you were a young adult, in marriage, with your husband, all those things that you went through and you have gone through, they were your schooling. They were your schooling. They were your university. They were your colleges. So your college doesn't have to be in the classroom that is man-made. It is life classroom that is the greatest college. Life's classroom that is the greatest university. Life's classroom that is the greatest certificate. So, but now you are wasting that by not sharing them. You are wasting that by not addressing them. But you've gone through the pain already. You have already gone through the pain. You have already gone through the sorrow. Why should you waste it? And God made you to go through those things so that you'll be able to use them as solution for other people. You see, like I said, you are a masterpiece. So your own experience will be totally different from any other person's experience. There is no way no matter how similar those experiences look like, no matter how similar those situations and circumstances look like, your own experience is your own experience. Your own experience is unique. Your own experience is only exceptional to you. So that your experience is your foundation. That your experience is your own uniqueness that you must now take and use it to be a solution provider to all the young people, all the people that must have experienced similar things in your life. In their lives. Or so that it might be something that you need to release so that other people will not experience that. So you need to build your life around your school, your experiences, the things that you have gone through. You need to, so if maybe you need to go to school now to get a diploma to validate and certify you to be able to use your experience and turn into your platform. You have a platform for greatness already. You have a platform for fame already. You have a platform for popularity already. And those are the things that God allows you to pass through in your life. Not just the things that you know in your head, but the things that you know by experience. So I would like everybody on this platform, as much as possible, to find an avenue and a platform of displaying your riches, of displaying your treasure. It could be video, it could be Facebook, like what I'm doing now. It could be live program, it could be recorded program, it could be YouTube, it could be articles, it could be blog, it could be books, it could be brochures, it could be lectures, it could be life coaching experience, it could be seminars. But the idea is, don't let your experience be wasted. Those are the very same things that God allow you to go through so that you will save the world from pain, so that you will save the world from sorrow. If you have gone through the sorrow, the idea is that nobody should repeat that sorrow. If you have gone through the pain, the idea is that no other person should go through that pain, or anybody who have gone through it must now come out just like you have come out. If you have come out of any situation or circumstances, other people must come out as well. So all your education should now be how to build that platform, how to certify yourself, how to get a degree around that idea and around that experience, how to promote that experience, how to propagate that idea. So if you are going to be studying in colleges or universities, you should only be studying on how to get recognized, get certified, and how to get promotion, and how to get yourself marketed to the world. So everyone, even if you are doing self-education, you should be doing self-education around how to become better, how to know this subject better, how to how to become better specialists, how to become a better speaker, how to add value to yourself, to make yourself better, to give yourself better platform, better avenue to reach out to people. Then you have to study, do self-education on how to promote yourself, how to sell yourself, how to make yourself popular, how to build a bridge between yourself and the people, how to make people to listen to you, how to popularize it. Don't just wait that God will make it happen. God will popularize it. God will not popularize it for you. Study to know how to popularize your experience. Study to know how to advertise yourself. Don't just say Holy Spirit will advertise. No, you have to advertise yourself by yourself. So get a hold of your and improve your skills. If you don't know how to speak, improve your skills to write. If you don't know, if you want to speak, improve your speech to, your skill to speak, and come out with all those things. Like I said, everything that made you to regret something, turn it, which must become your platform. Everything that made you to feel some sense of loss, pain, and things like that, they must become you must turn them to your platform. So that's why I call this message today. Even though this whole week and this whole series about problems, but I'm approaching problem in the practical sense of it. That everything that has made you to think that you are a mistake and that you are by accident and afterthought, every one of those they are a way God is trying to tell you that those are the things you are supposed to confront, and those are the things that you are supposed to deal with. You are unique, and you are uniquely packaged by God through those experiences, through those pains, through those sorrows, or through those blessings that you have. And now those things now must become your platform through which you are discovering who you are, and you are ministering life to other people. A lot of women have gone through abusive relationships and they got quiet about it. Well, maybe you don't need to talk about the man or the individual, that you don't need to put other people on the hotspot, but you need to go out and turn them to your platform. Turn those things to your instrument of deliverance to other people. Begin to talk about these things and set people free. So it's been amazing for me to see the testimony and the change in the life of TY, for example. And thanks to our confessions and our videos, she even said, she told me personally that new doors started happening to her. People want her to do reality shows. People are inviting her to, not even with her film, not with her movie industry, but this is just because of her stories that she's bringing out and her testimonies. So let everybody start their own program. Let everybody start their own shows. Let everybody begin to be a blessing to the world. Let everybody start their own books. Let everybody start writing their own books. Let everybody, you have more than you can give to the world that you could ever imagine. Okay, let's talk about aftermath. Afterthought, sorry. I'm just talking about aftermath. You know, somebody who thought that it was an afterthought, who could have thought that it was an afterthought. And I'm sure he thought that it was an afterthought. Like, even not just him thought that it was an afterthought. I myself, whenever I read the Bible, I used to think that this guy was an afterthought. I personally thought that Moses was an afterthought. Before I got to know what I know today, of course, I'm talking of years back. Because each time I read the book of, of Genesis and Exodus and, about Moses, I used to think, I mean, who does that? Who does that? How could God do this? How could God do this? And for me, God knew that children were being murdered. God knew that male children, the firstborn children were being murdered. Then God knew that male child was going to be murdered. Male sons, children were being murdered in Egypt at that time. And they were killing them for real. And it is that same time why they were killing, Moses qualified to be killed from every point. He was a male child, and he was a son. He was probably the firstborn, and he was qualified to be killed, and he was born in the family of the Jews. And I just thought this was a setup. This is a setup against this guy. I thought, why should God allow him? I thought, they are not lucky. Oh, why should God allow this to happen? I thought that's just a waste. Why should just God allow him to be given birth to? Yeah, and I thought that, Jace, I thought that Moses was an afterthought. I thought Moses was an afterthought. I'm sure God is regretting now that he allowed him to come to this world at this particular time. Because now God has to be thinking, not just God, but if the parents have to be thinking, how do we now make him safe? Then they have to keep him in the house for a few months and discover, try to hide him. How can a woman be pregnant? Then try to hide the pregnancy, and then try to hide the sex of the child, and then the child is given birth to. Then you have to hide that. Why do you go through all those troubles? That's an afterthought. That's a mistake. I thought it was that idea to give birth to Moses was a mistake from everybody's side, even from God's side. Now, when you begin to think, when you get to a place, when you begin to think that you are a mistake, know there's a destiny there. Anytime when you begin to get to a place, when you begin to think, God made a mistake, that should be the revelation there for you. That should be that is your trump card, that there is something, God is after something. Anytime you think that this is a mistake, this cannot just be, God is making a mistake, that is a sure assurance, guarantee, sure banker that there is, God has a plan. There is something that God has. So when I was thinking that God was making a mistake with Moses, that is exactly the proof that God had a plan. So if you are thinking that you are a mistake, or you are an afterthought, or if you are thinking that, for example, a lot of people think there is a mistake that they were born in Nigeria. And a lot of people are regretting the fact that they were born in Africa, or they were born in Nigeria, or that they are born in their families. Or maybe you are even a child that was not planned for. Maybe you are a child that your parents didn't want. So any time that you begin to think that God has made a mistake, any time that you begin to think that God has made a mistake by giving birth to your family or your sex or your country, it means God has a plan. And that is that same thing you are calling mistake should become your platform. For example, there was a time that I was thinking that I was the most unhappy person, the most unfortunate person, that I was born in Nigeria. That's why I'm not changing my passport up to today. I am not changing my Nigerian passport. I am not going to reject it, because now I know better. I know better that, in fact, if I had not been a Nigerian, I would have become who I am today. If the Nigerian blood has not been in me, there is no way I would have been talking the way I'm talking. There is no way I would have had the same passion I'm having. There is no way I would have had the same emotion I'm having. Have you seen the way Europeans are? Is there any one of them that has my passion? Have you seen Americans? Is there any way that have my own passion and emotion or combination of things? There is just no way I could be me without being Nigerian. So that same thing that I thought was a mistake, that same thing that I thought that was, an unfortunate thing, when that God was making a mistake in, that was the divine agenda. So that's what I'm saying. Everything that God wants to use you to bring solution and to, will always look, first of all, as something awkward and something bad. In fact, I wanted to commit the suicide that I told you about. I wanted to commit suicide 3 times because I was thinking that God made a mistake by allowing me to be born in that family. I thought that the family was the most unlucky, the most cursed family, and that, nothing good will ever come out of it. But that family, my family, Adelaja family now, is going to be the family that will provide answer for Nigeria as a whole, even for Africa. That same family that I despised, I wanted to even commit suicide because of. So anything that is making you to think that you are an afterthought, anything that is making you to think that you are a mistake, anything that's making you to think that you are a regret or secret or anything like that, that's your platform. Everything must be turned into the platform for the glory of God. That is the area where God wants to show forth his glory. So in the case of Moses, I was thinking, each time I read the book of Moses, I was always feeling bad for him. I was like, my God, for the family, for the mother. Now, who feels bad about Moses? Everybody wants to be like Moses. God, every area of your experience should not be wasted. God is taking you through a school. Every one of your experiences should not be wasted. God is taking you through your own university, through your own classroom, through your own college. God is equipping you for the very same thing that he is calling you to do for him. God equipped you. God is getting you ready for you to be able to resolve the problem that he wants you to resolve on the earth. Every one of us was sent here, was created to resolve a problem. Everything created is resolving a problem. Everything created is resolving a problem. Your eyes are resolving problems. Your eyes are given to you to resolve problems. Your nose is resolving a problem. Your mouth is resolving a problem. Your hands are resolving problems. Your ears are resolving a problem. Your skin is solving a problem. Your ear is solving a problem. Your legs are solving problems. Your hands are solving problems. Everything created in life, all your experiences are supposed to be used to solve one problem or the other. All my experiences, you are supposed to package. All your experiences, you are supposed to package them and utilize them and promote them, market them, and use them to solve a problem. All your experiences should be solving a problem. Any experience you ever, no matter how bad it is, no matter how horrible that experience is, that experience should be turned around to be solving a problem. Everything in this world is supposed to be solving a problem. This my cup is solving a problem. The water I'm drinking is what's solving a problem. This sulfate is solving a problem. My handkerchief is solving a problem. My computer is solving a problem. Everything created, anything available in this life is supposed to be solving a problem. All your experiences, all your pain are supposed to become a solution and be a platform to solve problem for the world, for humanity, for yourself, for God, for everything Moses went through became his platform to solve problem for to fulfill purpose. So we are all supposed to fulfill purpose. So you are not an aftermath. All those things that making you to think that you are an afterthought, they are all meant to be turned into instruments of solution. And all those things that making you to think that you are a mistake, all of them are not a mistake. None of them is a mistake. They are all meant to become your platform of solution to the world. You can learn from all these things I've said about these people and their stories, and and I hope this message will help you to be able to know what to do with your life, Don't just go and be working for it. You are going to a job and going to work for a job and getting employment and getting salary. Live for destiny. Live for purpose. Live to be a solution provider to the world and to your generation.